Alright guys, so in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Genji Doran's Kennen top into an Olaf, which is one of the harder matchups for Kennen given the Olaf ult interaction with the CC. But still, Doran's managing to get these advantages. You can see here 100% win rate on the champ right now. And yeah, we're going to see how he's managing to create these CS leads, get these solo kills, even into these harder matchups. So yeah, let's jump into game. Alright, so Olaf into Kennen. Trying to think how this could play out level 1. Kennen's obviously going to start E into this matchup. Probably can get prio here, as we see Doran immediately trying to get the shove in. The danger being if Olaf tries to run him down. But that's a bit overzealous, I think. He's getting a decent trade onto Kennen, but overall burning Ghost for that, not going to be worth. Especially as Kennen's still got the shove in. Nice EQ flash from Jarvan, giving a cheesy level 2 gank. So already pretty good start for the Kennen. Didn't get the kill, so I'm imagining he's going to stay after shoving this in. Maybe look for a bit of harass under tower on the Olaf. But again, I think Olaf probably pulled the trigger a bit too early there. Kennen's always going to be starting E first into this matchup, so getting that kill level 1 when the lane is that short, it's going to be a bit tricky. Let's see what Doran does here. Olaf going to pick it up. Immediate stun. Again, the Olaf, I suppose it isn't too big of a threat until level 6. So he's potentially playing it a little too aggressively to start with. And let's see. So Doran could allow the wave to push into him now, but doesn't look like he's opting for that. Getting these poke off. How did he even land that Q? I think that's a big part of playing Kennen, is finding these opportunities to land these Qs, because like I don't think I'd be going for that. I'm always looking for those just massively obvious Qs. I think the difference is going to be like things like that, E'ing through the wave. I'd always be holding my E in case Olaf decided to run at me, probably playing a bit too scared. Or as you see here, Doran, E's literally just come up, goes through the wave, gets the Q, gets the Olaf into lethal range. Olaf, no sums as well, no health. Doran still has flash available, so I'm not sure how he's going to outplay the dive here. All it's going to take is an EQ at this point. EQW. Let's see how he does it. Probably going to stack autos. Get the passive stack on him. W as well, and baits out the W. Olaf now going to have to recall. Is Doran going to let him? Probably not. Gets the wave in. Already huge advantage. Obviously the level 2 gank's going to help quite a bit. I wouldn't expect that, but yeah. Gets the passive auto ready. Olaf W's down. Guess he's just going to E in here. Nice. Saves the flash as well. Amumu is here. He's probably going down here unless he can dodge 2 Qs. But Olaf's just going to flash. Amumu's just going to flash on top. Pick that up. Wave, I believe, is now bouncing back into Kennen, so not too worried. Immediately picking up the Sork boots. Pretty standard first purchase. Even better into a matchup like Olaf, where you know he's just going to be running you down, so that movement speed. Obviously the damage is great as well, but mainly buying it for that move speed to help kite. Now, how are we going to play this? So wave's pushing back into Doran. Is he going to allow that, or is he immediately going to look to get the prio again? Looks like that's going to be the case, using that W for extra push. Amumu is topside. Ghost coming up for the Olaf here. Lands the slow. Is Amumu going to land the Q? Absolutely not. Second Q whiffs also. So now he knows Amumu's topside. We've got fucking Renata in lane as well. Grabbing the freeze. Again, I'd probably sit on this freeze for a while and just try and deny the Olaf, especially with Renata there. But it doesn't seem to want to play like that. Renata's going to come in. Olaf popping the ghost. The ignite's dropped. He's dead. No TP again, so going to be a hard shove the next wave. Maybe pick up a plate or two. And dip. Respawn time is still quite low, to be fair, so can't get too greedy, although we have hit level 6. I wonder if we're going to try and stop the Olaf getting back into lane here. We know it's hard for a Mumu to still be top, even without the map. Okay, so we're going to zone him off, level 5 to level 6. Olaf, no ghost as well, dodging the Q, going in for a bit of poke. And letting the minions do the work on the tower, just popping back in for the plate. So that right there, something to take advantage of on the Kennen, or any matchup where you get such a sizable advantage here, 6 versus 5. You don't necessarily have to proxy the wave, but just zone them off a little bit. But again, the only reason he's doing this is because we know for a fact that Amumu is not going to be topside. He's just tried that gank. Would have noticed his CS at the time. So you can take those more, or what would otherwise be risky plays. Just build those small advantages. Like Olaf probably only lost XP for maybe 3 minions there, but 3-4 minions. But we get the plate on top of that. So just these little incremental leads, building up. Probably going to be working towards the Proto Belt, I imagine. Already 54 CS to 26. So Olaf's not having a great time, but you never know. With the ult coming up, when he does reach level 6 eventually, might be able to make something happen. But, you know, like I said, got the movement speed with those tier 2s. Olaf sitting on just 2 longswords and the D-blade at the moment. So it's going to be pretty hard to stay on him. As we grab these last hits under the tower. Guessing the aggression's going to continue here. Not slow pushing. We are getting this in as quick as possible. And that may bite him in the ass this time, as we've got the Amumu top side. We have the pink. Get the ward out. Nice and safe. We know Amumu could be top side. Given the timings, that is some insane damage there. And he's not done. Almost killing the Amumu there. And after that, he's going to go and shove, I'm guessing. Because that Amumu's not ganking anytime soon. We know he's just cleared his top side and he's been chunked out. He's recalling 100% of the time. So, looking at a 1v1 situation. Olaf with flash and ult. But again, not a massive amount of move speed outside of that. Doran here. Getting this wave in. E and Q. Again, the great thing about Kennen Q, obviously, it's not a point and click. So you're never going to be drawing creep aggro from that. So you can play very aggressively with it against these melee champions, because there is no trade back from the minions. Slow push this and hard push the next wave. Again, when you're setting up these crashes, quite important, so right now, to look at the wave. So, for example, Doran has to kill this melee minion, it's almost dead already, and then this cannon. But if we look at where the next wave is, we ideally want to be pushing this a little slowly, so that the blue minion wave here and the red minion wave here are a little closer before we kill this. Because we don't want this wave to be pushing up sort of too far, so that it makes it a little dangerous for us to be last hitting. Much rather the next wave crashes around here, then we can get the hard shove in. Olaf won't be able to thin it out because he won't have the protection of his tower, and then we can look for either a dive or poke under tower while Olaf is trying to last hit that massive wave. You see there, perfect crash here. Can still walk up for those Qs and auto attacks. But I imagine we'll be hard shoving this. And trying to deny as much as possible under the tower. Again, Olaf both sums now with the ult, but taking these massive Qs. Once you get this component of the proto belt, it's insane. I mean, just look at that. That's Olaf's gone from basically full health, walked up taking a Q that he probably shouldn't have. Another Q. Already below half. Auto W. Another Q. Like, the poke is just relentless here. And again, Olaf being forced to recall. Doran's going to be pretty much double the CS, getting this in. Not to mention the plate gold. So again, something to take away is how important tracking the jungler's been for playing as aggressively as Doran has been, but there's been no real opportunity for him to get punished other than that one gank that Amumu got off. But with Kennen's movement speed after getting the tier 2s, it's going to be pretty hard for Amumu to land those Qs anyway. So jungle tracking. I play a lot of Riven, so level 1 I like to Q3 over this wall if I am blue side and drop an early ward on the enemy red buff. Just so I can better plan out their route. You can always wait to see if enemies are late to lane and things like that, but in high elo, it's not always a guarantee. They might be fake leashing or things like that, so I just like the guarantee. Olaf's actually going to try for it here. Not a terrible attempt, but at this point, Doran's just too far ahead. Still had flash, so just the damage from the ult alone was going to be enough to win that. Did pop the flash. Olaf still got the flash, but it's the movement speed that Olaf's going to be missing out on the most, so not too big a threat. Going to pop the recall here. Staying for a plate here is a bit of a bait. Death timers, you got to pay attention to these when you're making these decisions about recall timers. So Olaf's already alive. If Doran stayed to take this plate, Olaf's going to be back in lane while he's either still recalling, or even if he gets the recall off, Olaf's going to be back in lane, able to shove this next wave for free and get the next wave to bounce back into Olaf, which is what he wants ideally at this point. So, smart recall choice. Greeding for those plates, not always the best move. As we run back into top lane. It's the level saying level 9 to level 8, so in terms of XP, Olaf's doing a decent job of keeping up, but again, not taking any opportunity to freeze. When you're playing these picks, you want to be playing them aggressively. You're not just looking to scale. Although Kennen's got decent scaling, but if you're not playing these ranged top laners aggressively, you're missing out a lot of value there. Again, you can see getting that passive stacked up. And it's interesting. I wonder if he's consciously thinking about opening with Q, saving the stun. So, for example, right here, Doran's got the 2 passive stacks on the Olaf, but he's choosing not to W. And I feel like I definitely would probably just W at this point, but holding it just for that extra 1 or 2 seconds means that his Q's now back off cooldown, and the stun guarantees another Q, and at this point that's like a third of his health. So little things like that, I guess, are important. So not just stunning randomly, especially if you're getting those passive stacks with the Q first. Take your time with it, wait until the Q's almost off cooldown. Get your passive auto off, and then when your Q's about to come up, go for the W, guarantees another Q. So that way you can think of it, I suppose, as every Q you land is almost another free Q worth of damage if you can get the stun off, which is quite an interesting thing to think about. again, just absolute aggression here. We've got Jarvan topside, so not too worried. Olaf and Amumu are going to try and make it happen. Let's see, can Amumu get the stun? He's not got flash, so going to be quite easy to dodge that. Proto Belt and back in for the move speed. Amumu gets the ult here. Oh, he actually gets the kill. Fair enough. Alright, let's have another quick look at that. So, Amumu gets in range for the ult. Olaf pops his ult immediately, avoiding the stun from the ult. And at this point, it's just too much damage. With the CC being avoided, but Vladimir and Jarvan were nearby, so at the end of the day, it's a 3-for-1. Imagine Doran probably had one of those shutdowns. Let's quickly go back and check. Yeah, had the shutdown, but they're not great. But I don't think there's too much to worry about. Jarvan and Vlad might even take the top tower here with the rift, which they do. So now, let's try and think. Where is Kennen going to go? Top side is being shoved in through rift, so not going to be looking there. He does have TP. But doesn't have the ult, so can't really look for too much in this bot lane situation. Might just decide to run towards Dragon to contest that. He's going to TP to save the bot tower. But I'm guessing it's more for the drag control, but Thresh is here. So we'll take the freebie with the Aerie. And both setting up for Dragon and focusing on another tier 1 tower. Again, we saw this in a lot of the pro games that we've looked at so far. So they get that first tower and standard rotations. If the bot lane tower's still up, get down there and take it. It's extra resources. That's how you need to be playing to get these advantages and keep them going. Don't just autopilot and run back up top. Try and expand that elsewhere. As we can see here, this tower's going down. Dragon's been secured. Vlad has rotated top. It was very nice of him. And we get another tower, so another 300 gold. Do have ult coming up. Flash is a little way out. But with Renata here, we can probably take the 2v2. He's not even going to wait for the 2v2. He goes immediately in, and even without landing a Q, almost taking out the Aphelios. But not going to grab a kill yet. He's probably going down here. Takes the Thresh with him. Let's take another look at the engager. I think if he waited for Renata, it could have been a better play. But thought he had the damage. So opens with a Q onto Thresh. So already feels like he's going for the Thresh. Which, probably a mistake. I think holding the Q here. You know, Thresh isn't going anywhere if you manage to get the Aphelios. I think a Q at this point probably finishes off the Aphelios for sure. Especially with the stun coming in. That's a guaranteed Q. But unfortunately, gets sidestepped. Aphelios flashes anyway. Gets hooked. Goes down, takes one with him, but it's a little bit of an int. Definitely could have played that a little bit better. Probably could have picked up both there. Just saving the Q for the priority target. So, again, something to think about when you're taking these team fights or 2v2 sort of skirmishes. Your Q hits like a truck. So, you need to be thinking consciously about who your priority target is and not wasting those cooldowns without a good reason. See, I know the Q CD is pretty low, but you know, you want to time it with the stun. So, because again, Aphelios had flash there, but we had the guaranteed stun with the ult and the W, so the Q would have been guaranteed as well, and would have immediately taken Aphelios out of the fight. Especially he's got 5 kills at the moment. I don't think he's going to be coming back, but just something to think about. As we now run mid. So we've got both bot and top towers. Ult is already back up. Flash as well this time. So gonna be looking for it. We see him pink ward that. I imagine he's just gonna flash straight on top of the Aphelios. We know he's got no flash. Guaranteed Q with the stun again. Like a broken record, but I maybe he's gonna ult flash there with only the Thresh for backup damage. Might be a little bit tilted. Yeah, this pick super strong when you get a couple items for deleting those squishy targets. Again, the Q absolutely shredding. It's only on about a 4 or 5 second cooldown now. So anyone that walks up gonna be saying goodbye to a solid chunk of their health. So all 3 tier 1s gone. Now we're just looking to play for resources, maybe waiting for next dragon. Ult is already 3/4 of the way up to coming off cooldown. Sadly, I couldn't get this replay in the spectator, so can't check his gold right now, but I imagine he'll be working either towards a death cap if he's feeling it, or a Zhonya's. Obviously Zhonya's classic item on Kennen, just get so much value out of that. Ulting in these team fights. Gives you an extra Q off as well if you Q right before. But he's 8 and 3. He feels like he doesn't need the stopwatch, which is fair enough. So it seems to be moving towards the death cap. Just not giving him any sort of chance to come back. Grabbing some of this jungle, that's going to reset, but manages to get it before it does. Again, that's another way you can expand your lead. A lot of people think about getting CS leads as just CSing better. And although CSing is obviously a fundamental thing that you need to learn, has given up. Yeah, obviously you need to have the fundamental aspect of getting the majority of the last hits that you can. But the players that have the highest CS per minute numbers aren't just farming waves, or farming waves in their lane. They're catching waves that other people are missing, be that through better recall timings or rotations. They're also farming jungle camps when available. I mean, Kennen's not even that fantastic at it, but again, picking up Krugs when you can, or Grom. Aphelios just getting absolutely deleted there. I completely missed that. Let's see that again. Waiting in the bush. Got this drag coming up. Protobelt auto. I mean, that's just Aphelios cannot play, and he's 5 and 5 at this point. What's going on here then? I think red team's kind of given up mentally now, as we're just as similar to what was it, the Jace game that we watched. You don't have to sit at dragon to deny it from the enemy, especially when you're this far ahead. Set up vision in their jungle, you know, get inside here, get wards, sweep, and be in a position that even if they decide to walk up to try and contest it, that's when you're getting them. Don't let them walk all the way up to Dragon Pit and give them the 50-50 with the jungle. Deny them even approaching in the first place. I was just about to say, I don't think Aphelios wins that. Gonna use the Fog of War around that little rock there. Land the Q. W. It's over. It's all over. I'm just going to get the recall off here. At this point, the game's pretty done. Their comp isn't terrible for dealing with a Kennen, but at this point, I mean, the Anivia's 1 and 6, Olaf 0-6. Everyone's underfarmed. And even through tower gold. If you look at the scoreboard, 25 to 15 in your game, you might think, you know, it's not an insurmountable lead, but It's all those other things like the objectives that aren't factored into that make a big difference here. Now we do have TP, so I imagine we'd be looking to go top lane here to try and get that tier 2 tower. A lot of extra gold. Vladimir's already there, so probably not, but in your head, after you've taken all the tier 1s, like tier 2 towers are massive in terms of gold. Especially with TP, you can be pressuring a wave, bring a few players top lane, and your team is going to go ahead and pick up the opposite side objective, like drag in this case, but when you're this far ahead, they're just having fun. Finally getting around to it though. At this point, Doran's got flash and ult, so could take the drag here, rotate immediately for Baron, and just end the game. But we'll see what they go for. Picking up the bot wave, always greedy for the resources. Resources gives you gold, gold means item advantages, which means more damage. Which on a champ like Kennen, that's all you really need. Poking out the Amumu, might escape. Oh wow. Manages to get to the Thresh Lantern. The smallest glimmer of hope as the rage split push Olaf, putting in work on that tier 1 top tower, as we're going to be taking the bot inhib here. Which is great to get obviously when the Baron is up. So you're going to have that bot pressure regardless. Even with the TP up, you don't even need to be bot anymore. Team could look for a recall into Baron here or just run straight over, but I think at this point they're just going to go for the end. Olaf gets a pick, but... Ooh, alright. The cage actually... That slow coming out from the cage massively protected the Anivia there. And we're going to go down. Let's see, did we have... We did have flash, let's see how we played this. So flash is in. Again, sort of looking for the Thresh. Not sure if he's the prior target, but at this point, just getting those 1-for-1 trades. Lets the team get another inhib. More pressure. They can rotate to drag now. Not drag, to Baron. There's Vlad. Vlad also taking TP this game. Didn't even notice that. Rather than the ghost, so he could stay bot and just keep this pressure up. Giving the red team a little bit of a chance here to secure vision around Baron. Maybe they can win a 50-50. Let's see. Back up. What items have we got now? So we've got Death Cap completed. That's been for a while. Got the Sork boots and the magic pen from Shadow Flame. Picking up the control ward when we know we're going to be fighting for these objectives. Don't sleep on them. Clearing out the vision. Now what are we going to be looking for? Got no flash. Olaf sitting on vision. He's going to get picked off pretty easily. Does take a decent chunk, to be fair, Doran, but... Oh, we got TP. TPing into the spot skirmish, and Nivea... Oh, nice timing on the stun there. Prevents that Q from Anivia. Takes her out. Thresh, you're a little out of position here. Dodges the Q. And that is going to be game. Don't know what happened to the Amumu, but I think Aphelios is going to struggle to hold it. Especially from a grey screen. We're going to go in and end the game here. So main takeaways, I would say, massively aggressive, as you're always going to want to play these ranged top laners. But that aggression is calculated, so jungle tracking is the fundamental, I think, part of playing a ranged top laner effectively against a melee that you want to punish. You want to be punishing by playing aggressively, sure, but you need to know where the enemy jungle is, otherwise all you're doing is providing free ganks to a pretty lethal combo here in Amumu Olaf. I mean, even Olaf by himself is a tricky one for Kennen. So, like I said, I play Riven, so I get a little advantage by being able to hop over some of these walls to get an early ward down. But if you can, try and get those wards in. I've found myself that it's not often contested. So, you know, run over there. Maybe not through Trier. A lot of top laners will be sat there. So if you can, maybe with your own jungler, run through the river. Try and get an early ward down. Just determine where they are starting. Think about what path the enemy jungler is likely to take. You know, something like an Amumu is pretty standard. You're going to be full clearing a lot of the time. So you can think about what waves you want to play around. I'll probably go into this a little more in depth in another video, but if you know their clear is relatively slow, you can go for things like third or fourth wave crashes, and even look for a recall at that point. Get an item advantage, come back and prevent the enemy from crashing their wave, especially when they've got no TP. That's a massive little trick you can do, but maybe I'll cover those sort of things in another separate video. But yeah, aggression, playing around jungle pathing of the enemy jungler, getting as many plates as you can, and then it's the standard thing of rotating. So you get that top tier one, you head bot lane, you grab that, you go mid, you get that, all the while getting pressure for objectives like the Dragon and Rift Herald. In terms of Kennen specifics, one thing that we noticed was saving your Q cooldown, or opening with your Q, but saving your W for when that Q comes back up, because your Q is hitting like a truck in the early and late game at this point. But after you've got your Sork Pen boots, like, try and focus on getting those 2 stacks with a Q and the auto passive, and then wait for your Q till it's about to come up, then hit them with the W, hit them with the free Q, and you've basically like almost doubled the damage you're going to be getting through that trade. So that's something that I'll be trying to keep in mind as I probably int a few more games of Kennen, because God knows I can't play any ranged top laner. But yeah, I hope you guys found that video informative and learnt a little bit about it, about the Kennen, and yeah, hopefully I'll catch you in another one. If you have any recommendations of people you want me to take a look at, let me know in the comments, because a lot of the pros obviously after MSI are going home now. So yeah, if there's anyone else that you want to have me check out on EU West, let me know. But yeah, other than that, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you next time.